Right, for today's project we have a very traditional, very nice, a classic, a Telecaster in ash, but with P90 pickups to give you that rockin' tone, I guess. Teles are easy. One side, you don't got to flip them over. They have the standard routes here. The only difference is the P90s, and these P90s can differ a little bit. I'll kind of go into that in the CAD about the size and dog ear and non-dog ear and that kind of stuff. But a great project, good for kind of beginners. This one's kind of the novice level here, so we'll get right to it. Hey, if you find yourself enjoying this kind of content and want to see more, why don't you mash down on that subscribe button? That helps us immeasurably. And then maybe punch the like button and give us a thumbs up and maybe comment and stuff. That helps us bring you more content like this. So please do that, it helps a lot. And now, due in part to the overly litigious society in which we reside, listen to my robot.
Danger, Will Robinson! Danger! No, Will Robinson! Danger!
Okay, here you see the file as you would get it from us. Nice Telecaster, P90 pickups. It's you might have to move it around wherever your CAD software imports it. You might have to move it around, but that's how you get it. Let's always check the material first. Here we go. That's my whole machining window. That's why that's 48 and 32. That's how big my machine is, and that's this whole window here. And then what I'm mainly looking at is that it's 1 3/4 thick. So that looks good. Okay. All right. So here we are. You know me, I like to start with all of the parts inside. The pickups, the neck, the control cavity, and then I'll cut the exterior last just because it's only being held after the last pass by 2 little tabs that I have on there in my clamp. You don't have to do it this way, and depending on how you hold it and your fixturing, you may wish to do it in another way, but this is the way I do it. And as you can see, I already got them set up over here. So we would select the pickups, right, and then we'll check the pickup. Okay, I have my pickups at 3/4 of an inch deep. That's probably deeper than you need them. Check your pickups, but I like, for my customers, who knows if they got some kind of stacked pickup or something that they might be doing funny. It's really easy to put something underneath the pickup if you're doing a direct mount and not using a pick guard. You can put a piece of foam or cardboard or wood or whatever you want underneath it, but it's harder to make them deeper. So to be on the safe side, I go to 3/4 of an inch. I use my long 6mm end mill. I use that for almost everything. It's a great bit. I love it. Leaves a nice finish even though it's supposed to be a rougher. Conventional cut. And I ramp the plunge moves. That's just a little easier on my bits instead of drilling down to my depth of cut and then taking off full speed sideways, which puts a lot of stress on a bit. Ask me how I know. I will ramp that in there so it eases the bit in a little bit. Just makes my bits last longer. All right, so those are the pickups. Another thing I should probably mention at this time is check the size of your pickups. P90 pickups, some of them got dog ears, some of them are funny size. They're not quite as universal as, say, humbuckers. So do check that. If you got a dog ear pickup, you're going to have to change some stuff. All right. Control cavity is next, right there. Same kind of stuff, right? 1.4 inches deep. That should be deep enough for any switch or controls that you put in there, even stacked ones. I've never had a problem with it. Conventional cut, ramp the plunge moves. Okay, control cavity, fairly straightforward. Okay, same thing with the neck pocket. Okay. A lot of people like their neck pockets to fit really tight. If you can look over here, you can see my size, and I have the correct draft in there. Neck pockets are not rectangular, they're angled in a little bit. Okay, so keep that in mind. And mine is 2 3/16. 3/16 is 187. Some necks are maybe wider or skinnier than that, and you may have to adjust that, as you see fit. But this is to print, all right, for when we make them for people just as our standard offering. That's the size we make. Ramp plunge moves, easy on the bit. Neck pocket, fairly straightforward again. All right. Lastly is the outer profile. Let's take a look at that. All the same bit, and I'm going to 1.77. Well, wait a minute, man. I thought you said this thing was 1.75 thick. Why are you going 20 thousandths deeper? Well, I could put it at 1.75. Maybe there's slightly variances, and it'll leave me some fuzzies on the bottom, or whatever. I always use a sacrificial spoil board. It's just a 1/4 inch thick piece of HDF that I use for 1,000 bodies before it gets worn out, because it's only driving in 20 thousandths of an inch deep. So it costs me nothing. It's scrap. And if I go 20 thousandths deep, I get a nice clean edge on the bottom, and I like that. I don't have to clean up anything when I'm done. And like I said, it doesn't cost me anything. So we're going on the outside because I want this to be at final dimension. I got a couple of tabs on there. I have a clamp right here and right here. So I like to put those tabs on there so that when it machines out the body, those tabs still hold it to the piece that's clamped. Okay. I have in the past forgotten to put these tabs on there, and generally speaking, just by the sawdust that's left in the kerf when it cuts it, right, it won't move. But better safe than sorry, I always put tabs in there if I'm clamping it. All right, so that's the outer profile to cut through. Yep, I know. All right, so there we go. And if I do the preview of all the tool paths, it won't let me take away the outside because of those tabs and show you a real nice isometric view. All right, so like, if I try it, it'll tell me it'll take everything out, right? So it's just telling me that. All right, so but this is what that body will look like, and that's what we want it to look like. So that's pretty easy. Teles are basically pretty easy. They don't have forearm cuts or belly cuts, so you don't got to turn them over to do something on the back. They come out pretty easy. All right, so what we would do now is we would save that tool path to wherever we're saving it to whatever you want to call it. I usually call mine, I will name it what it is and then what bit I'm using, just so if I'm pulling it out in the future, I know it's a 6mm bit. I always use a 6mm bit though. So, but if you have a naming convention, that'll help you in the future. Okay, let's go out to the shop and machine this thing out.
Okay guys, we've reached the point in the video where I give you the free coupon code. If I've done my job correctly, it should be appearing right about here. What you do is you go to the link in the description. That'll take you to the file page on the website, and it will try to charge you for those files. What you do is when you check out, you put in that coupon code, and it will give those files to you for free. They're both in SVG and PDF versions. All I ask in return is that you mash down on the subscribe button, maybe hit the like button, share it with your friends, that kind of stuff. That's it. It's free to do that. What a deal. All right, now back to the video. Okay guys, as you can see, I have the P90's Tele loaded up in the computer. The G-code's ready to go. Let's machine this thing. Okay, as per my usual, we're going to check alignment and that it fits on the blank with one of my templates. That all looks good. That's all good. This is Ash, so you'll remember when we programmed this thing, we programmed it with a bit that was made for Ash speeds and feeds. So you don't want to use a basswood bit, or a basswood speeds and feeds actually, on an Ash body. It's too fast, you'll break your bit. Ask me how I know that. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward. Even though this is a standard, Tele, not P90s. The outside contour is all the same, so it should fit this time. Let's fire this guy up, and then I'll turn on my dust extraction, and we'll go from there. You should know what's coming. We got to get rid of these little tabs left over from where I sawed off the tabs that held this thing to the table. We do that on the big drum sander. There's one. There's two. Takes them right off. You know, that bit I use leaves a really good finish on this. I barely have to touch it with the sander. I'm really impressed with that bit. Okay, now we have to cut a wiring channel underneath here. And I do it underneath because, you know, normal teles have that like pocket right here. But I like to give my customers the choice whether they want to use a pick guard or not. Sometimes this ash can have really nice grain, or it's the look you're going for or whatever, and you don't want to use a pick guard to cover all that up. Okay, so that's why I do my wiring holes completely underneath the surface, right? So I come through here with this great big long 3/8 inch bit, and then I come through here. And it's all underneath there, so if you don't want to use a pick guard, you don't have to. Here we go. Boy, that ash is pretty hard. All right, now we'll do this one. Okay, you'll notice when I did this one especially that I came in at an angle. If I come in too steep, I'll go out the back of the body before I hit the control cavity. You don't want that. Trust me, I know. And if I come in too shallow here, I can nick this corner, right, with the drill bit when I'm drilling, and you don't want that either. Trust me, I know that too. All right, both of those turned out great. Let's go put the edge round over on it. Okay, teles usually get 1/8 of an inch radius round over. I have that loaded up in my router here, and this little ball bearing bit follows around the nicely sanded exterior that we just did. So here we go. The bottom. As I always state, be a little careful right here and right here. You want to go in, you want to kind of ease it in there. You don't want to cut radius up here or here because it'll undercut your neck plate. So just be a little careful doing that. On to the drill press. All right, because you follow this channel religiously, and why wouldn't you, you know that this is my fixture to hold this body so that I can put this hole in for the jack at the right spot. This is a 7/8 inch diameter carbide tipped drill bit. I've had this for, I don't know, a couple, 3 years, and that carbide wears forever. Even this ash, which is a very hard wood, it cuts right through it. So here we go. We have the, I think it's a 62. If it's not a 62, somebody correct me in the comments. A little flat spot right here that we put that hole in. So All right, there you have it. One P90 Ash Tele. This thing's kind of heavy. I'm guessing 5 3/4 pounds maybe. I'm gonna take my little sanding block. I'm gonna sand around the sharp edges here on the neck, and it's really only 30 seconds worth of sanding. I'm gonna do the same thing on the bottom. You can see I had some little fuzzies up there. And I kind of just blend this and this as need be. And there you have it. Nice, very traditional ash body. All right, as promised, one Telecaster with P90s completed. Pretty easy project. It's kind of, I'd put it on the easier end of the spectrum. You only got to machine it from the top. You don't got to flip it over and line it up or anything like that. There's no kind of veneer on here. There's no forearm cut or belly cut. I have done them with forearm cuts and belly cuts to custom order. I personally prefer a forearm cut and a belly cut on my guitars. It's just more comfortable for me to play, but whatever. This one's traditional, and we're just going to leave it the same. If you like this kind of stuff, and who wouldn't, please subscribe, like, tell your friends, share it, hit the little bell thing so you know when we put up new videos, and you get the free CAD and all that kind of stuff. But until next time, we'll see you.